Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live, and I'm your friend Chandrakant. In our story that we want to discuss, the first story is about COP26. But before we start, I must tell you that you can join our discussion live using the link given in the description below, or you can even chat with us by using the social media chat function, and your messages will be delivered to us instantly, and we can take your name and answer those questions. So, moving on, friends, the biggest story today is about COP26. It's about the environment. And when we talk about the environment, it is very, very important that each one of us think like the global citizen and contribute towards maintaining our environment. However, when these countries are discussing in Glasgow, I think the meeting has been going on for past 2 weeks, and we have reached the end of our meeting of COP26, and the final draft of the agreement has been prepared, which has been rejected by 21 countries. You see, the COP26 will not result into any decision. It is again a stalemate, just like Paris a few years back, and now the important decisions had been postponed to COP27, which will be next year, end of next year. So in COP26, what has happened? Uh, there has been a major disagreement between the developing countries and developed countries. And the developing countries, which includes India and China, predominantly the large ones, and then there are others also like Indonesia, Malaysia, and few others. There are about 21 countries who have come together, and they are calling themselves like-minded developing countries. Now, when we talk about like-minded developing countries, their only bone of contention is that the developed countries actually has been spoiling the environment for last 400 years. The whole problem of the increase in the pollution started with the industrial revolution, and it started in Europe, and consequently these countries became richer, and now they are transferring the entire burden to developing countries. So they have actually taken the high ground, and they are saying that you guys are responsible, and you better make sure that you don't pollute the environment. Whereas the like-minded developing countries are saying that, look, this is not something that we should be. It's not a equal win-win situation. Whereas you are the responsible party for spoiling the nature in the first place, and when we are developing, you can't put onus back on us. And when you talk about owners, it's the commercial angle that people are talking about. It's the amount of money required for making sure that the environment is not spoiled later. Well, India is definitely doing its role by converting all their transport vehicles into electric vehicles. Also converting, they are actually committed for making sure that there is a net zero target achieved. So we are doing everything in our power, but in order to create a framework, it is going to penalize India. And the whole bone of contention is that all these like-minded countries who are growing, who are developing at this point in time, you can't put a stop to their growth just because you have been spoiling the environment for last 400 years. So I think this is where the stalemate is. And now the people are talking about that, since you spoiled it, you better pay for it. And when you talk about these things, it actually means creating an environment fund. And a $1 trillion of environment fund will not be sufficient. It's going to take much more than that. So when you talk about this environment fund, the developed countries should contribute more than the developing countries. And that is why the COP26 has not resulted in any sort of agreement. I mean, we were quite hopeful that something will come out from this meeting, but nothing has come out so far. And it's ended in a stalemate where 21 countries have categorically opposed the draft agreement which has been produced on the table. So, friends, this is the state of affairs in Glasgow. I think this will be announced formally also in a day or two. But in case you have any comment, you can send in your comment using the chat function, or you can also join the conversation with me live, and we can have a discussion. So friends, I will take a very short break, and I will join you back with the next important item which happened this week. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back after a break. Welcome back, friends. And I would like to talk about the technology at this point in time, and this is related to WhatsApp. That is a software which is loved by everyone, and we use WhatsApp for our communication. We actually use it for our business, and the important news is related to privacy norms of WhatsApp, and that is about uh, when you start your WhatsApp, you can also set up your status. You can say I'm busy, you can say I'm free, or you can say only important messages, and people basically say things whatever, custom messages when they actually change the status. And their friends and people can also find out when you visited last, so when you were live last, and that time is recorded into WhatsApp as part of your status. So far, you can change that. I mean, there is a whole lot of application around privacy. You have to go to that page, change your privacy setting, and say that only my friends will be informed about your last live situation, when you were last live, and the time and the date stamp. uh, but beyond that, there is nothing much. So at this point in time, you can actually control who will actually see your status. And so far, you can always show it to your friends or everyone. So when you set your privacy settings to everyone, then everyone will be able to see when you were last online. And if you just set it to your friends, then only your connections will be able to see when you were last online. Now WhatsApp is going to add another feature where you can completely hide that information. You don't want to tell the world that you are online last on Monday at 2 p.m. That you don't want to show to anyone. So this is an additional feature which is going to be added into WhatsApp, and I think it's a good thing, because I don't want to tell people that I am watching, I was live, and I saw your message and all that. So I think this is something which is good, which they are going to do in next couple of days, and I thought this is something which I will discuss with my viewers, and that's why I brought it up. Don't go anywhere, friends. I'll join back with the next item after a break. Friends, welcome back. And this information is about the surface of the moon. And the latest research has shown that there has been, the surface of the moon is quite rich in various minerals and various elements. And one of the key element in which the surface of the moon is rich is oxygen. And this there has been a lot of research around it, and how much oxygen is embedded inside the surface of the moon is was a question. And if you look at the moon itself, it consists of there is no atmosphere at all. In fact, even if there is a trace gas atmosphere, these are all very very rare gases which are essentially emitted by the surface. So you can say safely that the moon has no atmosphere at all. However, the surface of the moon comprised of various types of rocks, and these rocks have a lot of minerals in them. And when you talk about uh, the amount of minerals, as per the recent studies carry out, that the if you take a 1 cubic meter material of moon, which is roughly translate into 1.4 tons, the 630 kgs of oxygen is there in this 1.4 ton. It's not huge. It's not something which is very there are other things also, but oxygen is there. And why this 63 kgs of oxygen? Because um, the normal human needs only 800 grams of oxygen per day. So if you calculate 1 cubic meter of material of moon can give you 630 kgs of oxygen, which is sufficient for one person to survive for 2 years. So, considering the total area of moon and the amount of oxygen which is available on the surface of the moon, which can be extracted in case human decide to settle or make a moon base, then there is enough oxygen embedded in the surface of the moon, which can provide breathable oxygen to humans, the entire world population of 8 billion people, for a period of 100,000 years. So there is enough oxygen available on moon which can be very very useful for any human settlement. And while they are making the settlement, they can put up machinery to convert oxygen directly from the surface and use it and recycle it. So this is something which is important, and I thought I will talk about it today, especially when NASA and Chinese Space Agency is in race to set up the manned lunar station to be based on the surface of the moon, and they would need things like water, things like oxygen to breathe, etc. All of this material will come from the moon itself, and there is no need to bring it from earth. So you can extract water and oxygen right from the surface of the moon itself, and probably do make a process, mechanical or some sort of chemical process, to recycle the material properly so that there is no environment issues on the surface of moon. I think the important thing is that there is enough oxygen available for uh, the entire world population to breathe if they decide to go on moon. So, friends, this is interesting. And if you have any suggestions or comment, do write in. I will display your name and answer that question. And I will meet you in the next one after a break. Welcome back, friends. And this item is from subcontinent of India. And when we say that oldest continent is Africa, however, people also say that the earlier in the primordial Earth, the entire Earth was covered with ocean, and the land started coming out roughly about 2.5 billion years back, and then it just came out from the ocean. But before that, it was all covered with water. And they said that the Africa was the first continent to form. However, which is about 2.5 billion years back. However, the recent study has shown that there is one place in India which is older than Africa, and that is a place called Singh Bhumi in Jharkhand area. As per the so this Singh Bhumi is having a lot of sandstone uh, features on the surface. And if you look at the sandstone, it's really the surface of the ocean. So when the ocean comes out, it actually creates a sort of a sandstone. And this is a picture which is sort of the stone which exists in the deep forest of Jharkhand, and this area is called Singhbhumi or Singhbhum. And as per the DNA analysis of uranium atoms found in these rocks have emerged out of ocean 3.2 billion years ago, making it the known oldest surface as per the studies conducted. And this is like 700 million older than uh, the previously thought land, which was oldest land in Africa. So Singhbhum area is the oldest land which emerged out of ocean almost 3.2 billion years back. It's such an old structure in the middle of India. So India seems to be older than Africa, the land of India, because we have one area identified as older than Africa, and this area is in the deep forest of Jharkhand called Singhbhumi. So, friends, I thought this is a small trivia for today, especially something for Indians to feel proud about their land, which is supposed to be the oldest land in the world and the first land that emerged out of the ocean. I think who knows, there could be older areas within India, Indian subcontinent itself. More study is definitely required, where we can find out the other areas which could be older than this Singhbhum area, but we have to wait and watch of what more studies will reveal. So, friends, I will now say goodbye for today, and we'll catch up with you with more interesting trivia and facts tomorrow. Bye bye for today.